And good morning, everybody. Welcome to 12 Ounce Sports and another edition of our NFL preview show, week number 2. We're also live on Zingo TV, channel 761. Yours truly, Captain Lou, from the Captain Lou Extravaganza, which airs every Tuesday night from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, along with my co-host, my tag team partner, Aaron Crouch from the AM Drive. You can catch them 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. out on the West Coast. Aaron, hey, thanks for coming on, or welcome to the show, whatever you want to call it. Week number 2. Can't wait to get started. But first, give me your initial impressions of the first week of the NFL season.
I think week number 1 went about exactly as I expected, minus the Cardinals and Titans game. I said that teams in disarray would stay in disarray through week 1, and it showed, and it was no more evident than a green number 12 on the sidelines there in Jacksonville against the Saints.
Wow. It's funny. You did say that, and you're a prophet as far as that goes. I
sure felt like it.
I didn't know what to expect. I did not expect that either. Aaron Rodgers, that whole team, they look gassed, and they looked, I don't know, out of shape. And it begs to the question, how much, a lot of the big stars didn't play in the preseason. Matt Ryan didn't play, and it showed. The Falcons looked horrible. I mean, give credit to the Eagles, but some of the big stars didn't play, and the rust showed. And Aaron Rodgers, I know he took the old family jewel shot on that one interception, but that doesn't excuse them for the effort they had against New Orleans, in my opinion.
No, and I appreciate the Falcons laying down in week 1, because I was able to trade Jalen Hurts as my fantasy quarterback for a nice little haul. Somebody probably overpaid for him, but that's their decision. But it's just a situation where, like I said, the NFL, you can play it 12, 15 years, and Tom Brady proves it every year. You're just a new kid on the block every season. You got to prove yourself week in and week out. And I mean, you look at it, ESPN and the rest of the media could not shut up about Aaron Rodgers this entire week on television, or radio, or wherever you find your.
Exactly. And Aaron Andrews had that interview with him right before the game on Fox. And, he's still lamenting about what he was 50-50 on it. It's time to get over it and play some football. We'll talk about their game coming up. It's Monday night against my Detroit Lions, who started out very Detroit Lionish fashion, then tried to make a miracle comeback, but falling short. But I got to tell you, Kyler Murray impressed me. I have to give credit where credit's due. And I always say on my show, when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. And I was wrong with him last week. I thought Tennessee was going to show up. Their defense was true to form. But I'm not going to take anything away from Kyler Murray or Jameis Winston. Both had really good performances. And, our locks of the week were 0-1. Now, yours was close. You were within a half a point, I believe.
I don't remember yours. What was yours?
I went with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers covering the.
Oh, that's right. Yikes!
Yeah, that was ugly. But hey, like I said, I'll admit it. You, with your picks though, combining your picks of the spread and the over-unders and whatnot, you were a very stellar 10-5, where I got off to my usual lackadaisical start like I normally do on my Captain Lou 6-pack challenge. I start out like a snail and end up like the hare. I was 6-9. So you got me by 4 right now going into week number 2, but a lot of season left, big fella. And congratulations on a good opening week for you.
Yeah, let's I appreciate that. And week 1 went well, but let's not just assume that there's not going to be any weeks where I go 6-10 or 6-9 myself. Those will happen. I think the key word of week 2 right now is don't overreact. Do not overreact to what you saw in week 1. If you have expectations for a team, especially a team like the Packers who got punched in the mouth, or a team like the Titans who got punched in the mouth, react to 1 week. Teams have a way of adjusting, reconfiguring strategy. The Packers get a familiar opponent. So just kind of take a grain of salt, take everything with a grain of salt. The offseason, week 1, look at everything from a very objective standpoint before you go just saying, oh, the Saints are going to win every game by 50 points. Just pump the brakes a little bit. Don't overreact to week 1. That's my advice to bettors this weekend.
Well, that's great advice to heed, and I will take that into account for sure. A couple other things from week one, Aaron. I got to ask you, the atmosphere in Las Vegas had to have been pretty electric for that game against Baltimore, the result as well. But great to see live football back in week number one and their first home game with fans. Oh, gosh, and couldn't ask for a better ending, a better script for that game.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but early Monday morning found a ticket available, a single ticket for about $85 plus fees,
Wow.
like 100 and something. And I didn't take it. I did not. I let it pass. The ticket got sold. Just to me, it was, I haven't been to an NFL game in a very long time, and I was like, is this really worth it? I've been having to rush from work, yada yada this. And I decided not to. And like I said, hindsight's 2020. I'm kicking myself because that was an incredible ending. And the crazy thing is, it was incredible because of the poor football that was being played in that last 60 minutes in overtime.
It can't be any worse than the Thursday night opening half this past week with New York and Washington. But we'll get into that shortly too. And the other big stadium opening, if you will, Aaron, was out at in Los Angeles with the Rams going up against the Bears. Not surprised with that result. Matt Stafford had quite a debut for the Rams. And, it's funny. And I'm so conflicted with this. I love Matt Stafford. He did a lot for Detroit. He was a good spokesperson for the Lions. He got the crap beat out of him year after year, tougher than nails. And he tried, but I'm still not sold on him as a big game quarterback. We're going to find that out later in the year, but I'm happy for him that he got the win. He's on the big stage. He's got the glitz now. And, it's going to be fun to watch him. And they had an exciting debut against the Bears, who to me, they're looking like they could be a train wreck coming.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because actually I was on the other side. I think I grabbed the 9 and the 9.5 on the show. I definitely grabbed the Bears plus money. I can't remember what I actually betted on. And for the first half, actually for the first 2.5 quarters, everything looked fine. Matt Stafford really couldn't get a lot going. Obviously, that even if he's not going to get things going in some games, that defense is just incredible, especially Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald gave Andy Dalton 0 time to throw, and I don't even know what's less than 0, but I would be willing to say he gave him less than 0 time to throw. My situation here with the Bears, and I'm no Bears fan, not even an NFC North fan by any stretch. This isn't Andy Dalton's fault. And again, 1 week, don't overreact. None of that was Andy Dalton's fault. He played a fine game. Justin Fields came in spots where I thought they could accurately or best use him, the rushing touchdown, obviously. But the Bears defense that we're so vaunted and we're so supposed to be so fearful of, it's a train wreck. It's bad. Khalil Mack, the Raiders are looking like geniuses for getting rid of Khalil Mack. I mean, we're looking, 3 years down the line here in this spot, and I think the Raiders – John Gruden looks like a genius for getting rid of Khalil Mack, and we wouldn't have said that 3 years ago when he did it. So there's a lot more chaos in Chicago than just Andy Dalton versus Justin Fields. So Bears fans, maybe you should be yelling at the other side of the ball, versus wanting Justin Fields in there.
I agree. And it's just going to be a matter of time, and all that's going to do is create a lot more chaos there for sure. And it's funny is. Those of us in Detroit are looking at this with a silver lining, and that is that Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions are still in first place going into week 2, even though we're all open one. That game was crazy. And the one thing I want to take out of that game, Aaron, and then we'll get going into week number 2, is I heard an interview with Jimmy G where he said that he gets he's not a fan of the platooning already. And, you could tell he was kind of frustrated with being taken out on that opening drive where Trey Lance got the opening touchdown pass. And he said, I was in with my guys. And, it's kind of frustrating. You don't know, you get in a rhythm. And I take that for what you want, or what it's worth. But, I still – San Francisco, I know they've got the weapons, and I know it was 38-10, and they put their foot off the gas pedal. But Do you see any kind of controversy brewing out there already?
In terms of LA, or excuse me, in terms of San Francisco?
Yeah.
Controversy? No, I don't see a controversy brewing just yet. Jimmy G would have to royally F up to bring Trey Lance in. And we saw Trey Lance come in. And again, I look at it in a situation where they're going to use him in packages like the Bears use Justin Fields. That way you can get him acclimated to NFL regular season football without having to rely on him. Because there's still expectations for this team in San Francisco with the 49ers. I mean, I know they're in one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest division in the NFL, and they have expectations. Kyle Shanahan has expectations, but also Kyle Shanahan can never let his foot off the gas again. He is proving to be a coach who cannot. You've got to stop this, Kyle. I don't care if it's Detroit. I don't care if it's New England in the Super Bowl. I don't care if it's Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Keep your foot on the throat of your opponent every game. If you win games 75-0 and you have to go to the reporter stand or the media stand and explain why you didn't let your foot off the throat, that's a better proposition than explaining, hey, you had a 28-3 lead, Kyle. What happened? Stop having to explain yourself there. Explain yourself why you didn't show sportsmanship when you beat the Lions 75-0. Keep your foot on the throat, Kyle Shanahan. But as far as the controversy, no, not yet. Not yet. Jimmy G played fine. The minute he stops playing fine, the backup quarterback's always the most popular guy in the room. And I wanted to talk about this. Gruden isn't a genius. I didn't say he was a genius. I said he's looking like a genius. And you're right. Yes, Khalil Mack is getting triple teamed every play, but isn't that a problem for the Bears defense? How do you not have anybody else who can complement that? The Rams have that with Aaron Donald. There's a reason Aaron Donald gets in the backfield. It feels like every play. I don't disagree with the fact that Gruden isn't a genius. I'm not giving Gruden his just desserts at this point. I'm just saying he's looking like a genius in a sense of like Khalil Mack is having problems, and he got paid what, $23, $4, $5 million to be a guy who's getting stuffed every play. Aaron Donald's getting paid not quite that, I think, a little bit less to get in the backfield and do what he's supposed to do.
Well, and we brought up the point about John Gruden, and I'll bring it up again. I think he's got a 43% winning percentage since the Super Bowl win that he had with Tony Dungy's players back in Tampa. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not a big Gruden fan. I really never have been. I liked him on Monday Night Football because of the entertainment factor. And
fair enough. And before we get into it, with John Gruden, I 100% agree. I lived in Tampa through those Tony Dungy years. Tony Dungy's loved. He's still loved. He will always be loved. He built that team. He built that entire foundation. Just could never win it. No. And John Gruden did.
Well, let's get to week 2. We'll start out with the Thursday night game. And I don't want to beat on coaches, but I'm just going to say, what the hell is Joe Judge doing? Why did they go for it on 4th down up 3? And I know instead of kicking that 55-yard field goal, I know they got it. I know they went up 6. I'm never, and I guess I've never been a fan. He was anointed this great coach, second coming of Vince Lombardi in New York. He's 6-13, I think, as a head coach for the Giants. That was kind of a snoozer to watch. So I went to bed because I had to get up for work early on Friday. I heard about the ending. Washington's 2-0 with Tyler Heineke at quarterback now for a while. Good for them.
They're 1-1. 1-1.
Or 1-1. I beg your pardon. That's right. 1-1. Good for them. But the Giants now they're 0-2, and they're gonna have some trouble trying to catch and try to make the playoffs. And now we got to start again. The questions are going to start cropping up about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, the good thing for the Giants is Philly's got a tough game against San Francisco, and the Cowboys got a tough game against the Chargers. Mm-hmm. There's a chance that even at 0-2, they're still not too far out of the division race, and that's the great thing about being in the NFC least, right? That's
right. So let's get to our first game that we're going to take a look at here coming up on Sunday. Let's go to New Orleans and Carolina. Last week, my hot take, Carolina, the second best team in that division. New Orleans is a 3.5-point favorite in that game, and the over-under is at 44.5. Both teams are 8-2 against the spread in the last 10. Obviously, we talked about New Orleans with that big win over Green Bay. They just trucked them. And Carolina got out to the lead. They hung on. Sam Darnold was able to make some plays. I was happy for him to get out of that New York quagmire and get to Carolina. I'm not a huge fan of Darnold yet. He's got to prove himself to me. This game's going to be a tough one for me to pick. Second straight week on the road, if you will, for New Orleans. I'm based on what I saw last week. I was impressed with the defense in New Orleans. I'm going to take New Orleans laying to 3.5.
He's ready to jump on the Jameis train here in this spot. I love it. I love it. You know how much of a Jameis stan I am. Again, I'm looking at week 2, not overreacting to the situation. How good is Jameis Winston? He's got the ability to take over a game. But are we going to see interception Winston here come? I hope not, obviously. I think Sam Darnold is capable enough to take care of the ball. I know he throws a lot of picks, but Matt Rule, I think, is a far better coach than Adam Gase here in this spot. I'm leaning towards I'm leaning towards making this pick actually a bet, but in my spot, I'm looking at 3.5. I like the hook at home. My biggest thing that I look at with betting is, especially in the NFL, if you're giving me more than 3 points as a home dog, I'm almost always going to take you. So that being said, I like the weapons in Carolina. This could be a defensive struggle, or excuse me, an offensive struggle for both teams. I took a peek at the under there in that spot, but I don't think New Orleans is putting up 38 points again like they did last week. So I'm actually going to lean on this one, and I'm going to take Carolina plus the 3.5. So you and I, right off the bat, are on opposite sides of the coin here. Don't forget, guys, you can catch all these lines at betus.com. You can head over here to 12ouncesportsradio.com/betus and use our promo code 12OZ for a 125% deposit bonus. So you're not really sure who to take after this one, after we both sat on opposite sides of the coin. But if you have to make one, I'm going to say that this game's under 44.5. But my pick is Carolina plus 3.5.
Fair enough. Yeah, I kind of wavered on that one as well with the over/under, but I'm gonna agree with you. I think that could be a lower scoring game, and the under might not be that bad of a pick. Let's go to the Midwest, Cincinnati and Chicago, an interconference game, if you whatever you want to call it. Chicago right now is a 2-point favorite at home. We talked about them and their defense, kind of laying an egg against L.A. In the opening game on Sunday night. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow looked pretty good, looked very poised, leading them to that drive in overtime. 66% of the betting money is on Cincinnati getting the 2 points on the road. Both teams are 4-6 in their last 10 against the spread. Chicago, I am going to take Chicago, laying the 2. Andy Dalton playing his old team. I think Chicago's they're going to come out with a little bit of fire. At least I hope they do, because if they don't, they're going to be 0-2, and that's going to put them in a hole, even though they'll only be one game out. So I'm going to go with the Bears minus the 2.
Yeah, I think this is a situation, a bad offensive line in Cincinnati. This is a situation where Khalil Mack needs to pin his ears back. He needs 2 sacks in this game. We're talking about Khalil Mack. Again, I'm not saying Khalil Mack's washed up. I'm not saying he's a bad football player by any stretch of the imagination. But this is a game that you pay a guy $20-something million to take over and get in Joe Burrow's face. You have effectively a rookie quarterback. I mean, Joe played, 9 games last year? He got lucky with Minnesota. They go into Chicago, a tough opponent, in my opinion. David Montgomery's running the ball incredible.
Yes.
Cincinnati doesn't have much of a defensive, stalwart here, and they're not a very good defensive team. I'm not high on Joe Mixon. I just don't see the spot where I think Minnesota's overrated, so I don't see the spot where Cincinnati should be anywhere close. And you're telling me on a neutral field that Cincinnati is the better team? I don't buy it. So yeah, give me Andy Dalton here. I in a revenge game of sorts against the Bengals. Chicago laying 2. I thought it was a weird, and maybe it's a super trappy game. Maybe we're falling right into the trap, Lou. But I'm going to take the bait. Give me Bears minus 2. I think they win this game by a touchdown or greater.
All right, we're both in agreement on that one. Let's go down the road, stay in the Midwest. We're going to go a little southeast to Indianapolis. Seattle went down there last week and proved why they've been one of the best teams in the last 10 to 15 years, always on top or near the top in the NFC West. Now Indianapolis has got the LA Rams coming to town. I'm going to let you go first on this one. I'm just going to tell you the line, as you see on the screen, is at 3.5. Over-under is 48. And 76% of the betting public is going with the Rams in this one. So let me get your feel for this game, Aaron.
Yeah, this feels real trappy to me. I feel like, Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, it's a match made in heaven. They were talking about this on the broadcast Sunday Night Football, how where Sean McVay and Jared Goff, it felt like, even though Sean McVay's young, it felt kind of almost like a father-son kind of mentorship. Whereas now, Stafford, I believe, is 33 and McVay's 35. They kind of feel like buddies or brothers. This is just a match made in heaven. That being said, I thought this line, realistically, I don't love Carson Wentz, but I thought this line should be up in the 6 range, even on the road. So it really wants me to take the LA Rams here in this spot. I don't know if the Ferrari's ready to run circles on the road here, Matt Stafford. I had a hard time finding a play here. I really did. And the play I decided to go with was actually the first half under of 24. Can expect this game to fly over. Carson Wentz and the Colts are going to be playing catch up, but the Colts defense was what was supposed to be good. And again, I'm not overreacting to week 1. They got torched by Russell Wilson and those receivers. So I'm going to say they build a game plan to stop Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and the rest of those guys in LA, at least for the first half. So I'm going to take the first half under 24 in this game, just because I really couldn't find a side or a total that I ultimately liked for the game. So yeah, give me the under in the first half there.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I know before we came on, I said I was going to pick all over unders, but I forgot about this, or all line picks, but I forgot about this game because I thought a lot about it with Carson Wentz and Matt Stafford. I could see, I know Indy's defense is decent, but I can also see where the Rams and Indianapolis in that indoor track could get into a track meet. I'm going with the over. I think the Rams could jump out to, say, like a 2-touchdown lead. 28-14, 24-10, whatever. Some catch up going along. I could see a 31-27 contest in this one in Indianapolis. So I'm going with the over on this one. And I'm kind of up in the air on the winner because, they are traveling out to Indianapolis and Indy needs this win bad. So I'm going to go with the over on this one.
All right, well, there's a way we can both win. How about 23 in the first half and then 50 in the second half? You can get flying over.
Let's do it. I'm all about that. That'll make us look like geniuses.
There you go.
Let's go back down south to Jacksonville, where they get a true home game. Green Bay or New Orleans is not playing there this week. They get Denver. Now, it's funny is when I was doing my NFL preview shows, Aaron, with Denver, it opened my eyes to – I had a gentleman that covered the Raiders come on my show, and he said to watch out for Denver because their defense is amazing and they've got a good stable of weapons there, and it's all going to come down to quarterback play. I was very impressed with Teddy Bridgewater going to New York and winning that game. They're a 6-point favorite going to Jacksonville. You talk about distraction city with USC firing their coach, and you've got Urban Meyer. The talk is already of him possibly leaving after one game. They're saying he's on his way out of town. He vehemently denies it, but everybody does that. That being said, the betting money is 55% on Jacksonville to cover. I know it's cross country, but I'm overreacting and saying that I think Denver's going to cover. I'm going to go with Denver, and I'm going to take the 6 points.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I mean,
the 6. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I picked up what you were putting down there. It's funny you mentioned that. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is the Hall of Famer when it comes to covering spreads. I think he's something like 32-15 and something. Wow. He's over 66%. He's covered over 2/3 of his games as an NFL starter, and it's just incredible that And I don't think the distractions are what's the problem in Jacksonville. They're a bad football team.
Oh, they're brutal.
They're just a bad football team. And I actually I watched every Trevor Lawrence play. Kudos to the Yahoo Sports app. I watched every Trevor Lawrence play. He looks incredible. He looks dynamite. I mean, the arm is a cannon. He's just overthrowing guys. And I don't know if that's nerves. I don't know if that's, not being able to dial in his arm strength in the sense of, because he wasn't inaccurate in terms of ball wasn't terribly wildly like Mitchell Trubisky inaccurate. Mm-hmm. It was just over their head a little bit. So I'm going to do something I don't normally love to do. I'm going to look at a trend, see how overwhelmingly tilted it is towards this, and I'm going to give me the Jags. I got this at 6.5 earlier. It's down to 6, as you can see. But I'll still take the 6 for purposes of the show. And we're going to be on opposite sides here. I'll take Jacksonville plus 6, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that money line at plus 225, just in case.
Well, that's tempting. That's funny you say that, because I looked at that myself yesterday, and I thought, man, put a couple of shackles on that one. It's worth it if it hits. Something we're not going to break the bank if it doesn't hit. And those money lines can be very, very tempting. That's for sure. Hey, again, thanks everybody for joining us here this morning on our Week 2 NFL preview show here on the 12 Ounce Sports Network and Zingo TV, channel 761. Aaron Crouch from the AM Drive, which you can see Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, and all points in between here on 12 Ounce. And yours truly, Captain Lou. There's our Twitter handles at Aaron AM Drive, and me, of course, at Real Captain Lou. I'm on my Captain Lou Extravaganza, which airs every Tuesday night from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern time here on the 12 Ounce Sports Network. We have tried to get at least 2 or 3 guests every week, talk all kinds of sports and everything else that's going on in the world. So we want to thank everybody for taking time out this morning. And as it's brought, our lines today are provided by betus.com. Aaron, I'm going to let you go, or I'm going to let you start off first with this next game. We've got Buffalo and Miami. We're going to stay in Florida. Buffalo lost to Pittsburgh last week, and Miami with a nail-biter win up in New England. Buffalo is still a 3.5-point favorite on the road, and the over/under is, I believe, 47.5. Yes, it is indeed. Go ahead, give me your gut feeling on this one. What are you leaning, and what are you looking at in this game?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned this one, because it's actually the game I hate maybe the most on the docket this week. Swing in, and so much action is going on the side I actually thought I liked in Buffalo. And whenever that happens, I tend to get the uneasy feeling, talk myself off that ledge here. Buffalo, it's a must-win game, because they are going to be in the tabloids for the rest of the week. Josh Allen, we crowned him. He's my pick for MVP this season. But then you start to actually dive into the Buffalo Bills. No running game other than Josh Allen. Their running game's atrocious. Devin Singletary, who I was hyping up for 2 years, just isn't doing it. Zach Moss was out week 1. And, but the same situation. I thought they controlled that game against Pittsburgh. And I think Pittsburgh's a much better team than Miami. But here, flip side, going down to Miami. Miami's tough. It's still hot down there. That never really favors a team coming from the Northeast. So I just really hated everything about trying to make a play on this one. But for our purposes of our show, I wanted to make a pick. Full disclosure, I'm putting no tickets on this. I'm not putting in any teasers, not putting in any parlays. But I am going to put a pick here for the NFL show. Under 47.5 is my play in this spot.
Yeah, that's a tough one to pick the line on. I was thinking about that, and then your logic with Carolina being the home dog.
More than 3 points, yeah.
More than 3 points. And, because you got me thinking. I got to tell you, kudos to you. Because I originally was going with the consensus. Buffalo at 69% of the money is leaning towards Buffalo. And I went back to my thinking on Wednesday and Thursday when I was doing my homework on this. I'm going with the desperation mode as well, and I'm going to go with Buffalo. And I think they're going to cover the 3.5. So we're going to be not really different, but that's kind of my pick right there with Buffalo.
I always like it when there's a way we can both win. I can get the under, you can get the 3.5. We can have 10 to 10 game, and we're all good.
There you go. Hey, I like your thinking, though, on the under. I think it could very well play out that way. Staying in the AFC East, we're going to go up to New York and the Jets. they started out like a team with a brand new quarterback. Zach Wilson was just getting harassed all game. And finally, once he got his feet underneath him, if you will, sea legs, he didn't look that bad in the second half. If you're a Jets fan, it's encouraging. New England, of course, had that fumble going down, or they more than likely could have beaten Miami. I think I like what you like. One of your terms is fool's gold. I think that game, that I thought Mac Jones played pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
This game is the most, as far as the consensus goes on a pick, 91% of the betting public is going with New England on this as a 6-point favorite. I don't want to buck the trend, but until the Jets start winning, I'm going to go with anybody that plays against them. And so I'm going to take New England, and I'm going to lay the 6.
Fair enough. I don't hate that play. My situation here is even, it's rookie quarterback against rookie quarterback, and neither of these quarterbacks I really want to be laying my money on here. Actually, it's ironic you said, Mac Jones played well. I thought overall he played well. I actually, during the week, gave him a D+ in his grades because I feel like he had trouble hitting that short route, which made Tom Brady into a Hall of Famer. So right now, I don't feel comfortable really laying sides with either of these quarterbacks. They still feel a little too timid to me, and I'm not sure either coach is ready to unleash them. That being said, we have two defenses, one that's not terribly great in the Jets, and then one that's just above average, in my opinion. With Stephon Gilmore going down, their secondary is just ripe for the picking. Who's probably going to have to get rolling out in the pocket. And when your cornerbacks have to cover guys for longer than 2, 3, 4 seconds, that's when the big plays open up. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the quarterbacks do better than they did last week, and they put some points on the board. Give me the over 42.5. Now up to 43. Give me the over 43.5.
That's
or 43. Excuse me.
No, you're good. That's a pretty darn good bet because I wavered on that, but I'm sticking with most of the trends here with me going with the lines, but I think that's smart money, Aaron, with that taking the over on that one at 43. We touched on this next team a little bit with San Francisco when I asked you the question about a controversy. Philadelphia went into Atlanta, and Jalen Hurts looked really, really good. Now, again, overreaction, it's week 1. Atlanta is not good. You talk about a team that's starting over. They could be, they're going to give Detroit, I think, a run for their money as the worst team in the NFC. And Arthur Smith's got a lot to do there, and he's got Kyle Pitts and Matt Ryan. I get it, but they're not playing defense. And
are we going Eagles or are we going Bucks?
Oh, geez. No, we're going Eagles. I'm sorry.
Okay. Wait a second.
For a quick second. Let's go back to Philly. Jalen Hurts, he had a great game. I've always loved him when he played. I liked him in Alabama, liked him in Oklahoma. He's carried that chip on his shoulder. It's his chance to shine. San Francisco, second straight East Coast game. At the beginning of the year, I thought this was going to be a walk for San Francisco. Now I'm not so sure. I'm going to go out with an upset. I'm going to take Philly. Give me the 3 points.
Yeah, Lou, you and I are in agreement on this one. I love Jalen Hurts. I think he's just, like you said, always got that chip on his shoulder. My favorite quote that I've heard in a while is the Rams do every day, and that came from him. I'm sure that else, obviously, but that's one of my favorite quotes I've heard in a while because it's just a message of perseverance, never rest on your laurels. Aaron Rodgers looking at you in the spot. So I'm with you. I am a little more chicken than you are. I'm going to take the 3 points here in this spot. But it would not shock me if the Eagles won this game outright. And if the Eagles defense can pressure Jimmy G, that might be where you start to hear the trans rumblings through next week.
That could very well happen. So that's going to be one of the fun games to watch to see if Philly really is for real, because this will be a test, even though it's a home game.
And don't forget, you also have the West Coast team going east playing a 1 o'clock Eastern game, 10 in the morning for them. Let's hope that trend continues as well. That never goes well for the West Coast team.
No, it doesn't. The only team I think, though, that seems to do well with that is Seattle. They always seem to do well on East Coast for some reason, and that doesn't seem to faze them. So, they don't have to worry about that. What the heck? Let's dive right into that one. They're home to Tennessee, and they're 6.5. Oh, the line is up to 6.5. Playing a Tennessee team that, boy, I'm worried for them. If you're a Titans fan, there's another team, Aaron, in my opinion, that the defense is a little suspect. Give me your what's your feel on this game played out with the land of the 12th man?
Hold on, I got an itch. The Titans, again, I look in this overreaction. They got to get the offense going because that defense is not going to do them any favors this year with regards to unders. I mean, these over 54s, that doesn't even look low enough because of the Titans defense last week. That being said, I am going to back them. They are going to walk up here. Again, you don't want to go 0-2. The only reason you might be okay going 0-2 is because at worst, you're looking at the Texans being 1-1 and maybe the Colts. I doubt the Colts will be 1-1. They'll probably be 0-2. Jaguars, do you really want to go into the AFC South where the Jaguars and the Texans are at 1-1 and the two guys who were favored to win this are both at 0-2? Now, not sure they're going to win this game, but you're going to give me 6.5 points with Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. I'll take the points in that spot. Seattle likes to play close games at home. I feel like Russell Wilson just loves the drama. He even said it on Monday Night Football when he was with Peyton and Eli. I love the close games. Now, is he going to try to play a close game? Probably not. But give me the 6.5 here with Tennessee. I'll take the points, and I think they probably still lose this game by 3 to 4 points.
70% of the betting public is on Seattle to cover this at 6.5. And I've been going back and forth. This one is almost literally a coin flip for me on how to do this. I kind of like the over on this as well. I'm not, I know the Legion of Boom is trying to get it together, but they are at home. They can put points up in bunches, and I'm not a believer in Tennessee's defense.
Totally fair.
And I think that this is another one like the other one that I talked about where I did take the over under. I'm going to go with the over on this one. The points scare me. I like you're a very valid point you have with that Seattle playing close games at home for some reason. So I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to take the over 54 on this one. And, I hope they light it up and hope for both our sakes it's a 34-30 game.
I do hope that as well. We do have 90% chance of rain that day. And also Seahawks are 8-2 to the under their last 10 games. So I do wish that hopefully that rain doesn't affect you in that Seattle game. Rain in Seattle? Who knew?
What a shocker, huh? Let's go back to the East Coast and let's talk to two teams that were victorious last week. Monday Night Football, it was Vegas winning in overtime over Baltimore, and then it was Pittsburgh with a big win over Buffalo. They granted part of it was special teams. I understand, but hey, you know what? A win's a win. Their special teams showed up. It's funny is I talked about Seattle with wondering how do they always do it, but Pittsburgh, it seems like once you think their offense isn't going to be able to do anything, Roethlisberger, I know it wasn't because of him that they won. I think their defense played really well last week, in my opinion. But Pittsburgh's got such a sound defense. That line is 6. I wasn't sold. I'm going against the betting trend on this one. I'm going to lay the points with Pittsburgh. 61% of the people say Vegas. I really was impressed with Pittsburgh last week, so I'm gonna roll with the terrible towels. I'm gonna go with the Steelers, laying the 6.
Yeah, fair. I look at a situation here where Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin, I think they really want to just say, hey, Ben, get us 24 points a week, and I think our defense can do the rest. Now, is that going to fly against the Bucs? Is that going to fly against Kansas City? Is that going to fly against Baltimore? I don't know. The book's out. We'll see how that goes because they are going to have to play Kansas City, I believe, this year, later in the year. So that being said, I don't know. I didn't really love any part of this one. I'm trying to look and see where I went with this one. Okay, yeah, no, I took the Raiders plus 6.5 in this spot. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are a better team. Again, I know there was bad football on Monday night, but Derek Carr, top 10 quarterback in my opinion. Top 10 quarterback. He gets a bad rap. He's got Darren Waller, who nobody can stop Darren Waller. Just don't even try. You just hope to contain him. And I think Henry Ruggs is finding his feet, made some great catches. So I'm gonna. It's a weird situation about it with Ian McMillan of BetSided on the show. Was it yesterday or Thursday? One of the two.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday. And he said it's a classic case of a mediocre offense going against a mediocre defense. Pittsburgh O, Raider D, and then you have a good offense and the Raiders going against a good defense. What do we look at here? I'm going to say the game remains close. Take the Raiders plus 6.5. And then throw a little bit on that money line at plus 240 at this point right now.
Ooh, that's a big money line. That's a big one. Not the biggest, as I'm sure we'll find out, but that's awful tempting as well. Again, you're watching the NFL preview show live here on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV channel 761. The AM Drives Aaron Crouch. You can watch him Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and all points in between. And yours truly, Lou Gamlin from the Captain Lou Extravaganza, which airs on Tuesday nights from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. And as is on the screen, all of our lines are courtesy of 12ouncesportsradio.com/BetUS. Use the promo code 120Z, all one word. 125% deposit bonus, up to $1,000, I believe. That's a no-brainer in my book. That is a lock right there. In my
200
book.
if you use crypto.
Well, there you go. There you go. So that's a lock. You got to do it, man. That's a no-brainer.
That's my lock of the week right there.
Bingo. Excellent. Let's get back to the games. We've got 6 left to talk about here. Let's go out to the desert. Arizona is hosting Minnesota. Arizona, big win over Tennessee last week. Another one of those, what real team's going to show up? Arizona, maybe they're just cursed because they're in such a good division. But, hey, they're on top, 1-0. Minnesota, to me, is still – I like your point, them being overrated. I think they're kind of they're a powder keg ready to explode from inside. Arizona's a 3.5-point favorite. What's your gut on this one, Aaron? What are you looking at out of this game?
Yeah, it's funny. I say Minnesota's overrated despite the fact that I picked them to win the division before the season started. So maybe I'm the one who's overrating them at this point. And again, I don't want to overreact. I still think Minnesota has good weapons. We know that. Thielen, Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, of course. The defense, you got Barr, who's just often injured. I don't know what to expect with the defense here. The pride and joy of Mike Zimmer, a guy who's a defensive guru and just can't figure out how to get it right here in this spot the last, year and a half. So all that being said, I said I don't like the Vikings defense. Arizona put up 38 points last week. I don't know if they can do that again, despite being on their own turf here. The hook scares me, and I just like nothing about this. I have no plans to put it on any ticket, but for the purpose of the show, I'm going under 50.5 in this spot.
Wow. That's out on a limb right there. If I was to bet, I would take the over, but I'm like you. Just for the show, I'll make a bet on this one. I'm not touching this one either. 69% of the betting public is on Arizona to cover. So I'm going to follow the leader. And because I have no faith at all in Minnesota right now. Watch them come out and put up 40 on Arizona in the desert. But I'm going with Arizona on this one. I think they're going to go to 2-0 and just make things that much more interesting in the NFC West. So give me Arizona. I'll lay the 3 and a hook. I'll take a chance with that as well. Let's stay out. Oh, go ahead.
Just to wrap that up, that's the thing with Arizona. You're almost under this pseudo pressure being in the NFC West. You can't lose games like this.
No.
The game that you're expected to win, you cannot lose it. So you're under pressure to go 2-0. And
Cliff Kingsbury, to me, going into the season, was in the hot seat. I honestly thought that, and
Agreed.
I still think that. And if they would go a long way if they can win this one. And who'd have thought they'd be 2-0 if they can do indeed that? Really, again, they have to keep pace with some of these high-powered teams. Potentially, all 4 teams could be 2-0 going into week 3. Let's go out west to Los Angeles. The Chargers are hosting Dallas, and both teams played relatively well. I thought Dallas had a fair showing. Should have won that game, in my opinion. The play calling and the clock management, I think, I don't understand what the hell Mike McCarthy was doing with clock management in that game against Tampa. I thought they should have ran the clock down a little more, not to give Tom Brady. It's easy for me to say that, but I'm going to say it anyways. Chargers come in 3.5-point favorites, or now it's down to 3. The over-under is 55. Dallas is the 61%. The trend for them, the betting public is leaning towards Dallas. Aaron, I'm going to just say it right now. I think this is going to be a shootout. 55, I think I might lean towards the over. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say over 55.
Okay, fair enough. I guess I tend to be eating chalk at this point in terms of the public money perception. I like Dallas, a game in where they kind of in the same area where they have their initial training camps here. In Oxnard is pretty close to Los Angeles, so the familiarity with this area is probably okay. It's an advantage to Dallas in this spot. I like Justin Herbert, still, getting through those growing pains. I know he was Rookie of the Year last year. Dallas Cowboys here. Give me the money line. Don't even give me the points. Dallas Cowboys win this one straight up. Plus 160, 165 at the book I bet here in Vegas sometimes. Just give me the money line. I'm not even taking points in this one. Dallas Cowboys get off the schneid, 1-1 here. They get the ball rolling in the NFC East.
I'm looking forward to watching the Red Zone channel in the later afternoon games just for that, because I think we're going to be seeing both those teams on a lot in the red zone in that game. I look for a 38-31 game or 38-34. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. Let's go down to Tampa. They're going to be playing at home again to Atlanta, the aforementioned Atlanta Falcons. We talked about them a little bit, or I did, when I lost my place, if you will. Here's a scary line. We're getting into some of the scary ones now. Double digits, 12.5, Tampa Bay and TB12, ironically enough. Aaron, I haven't talked to you about this because we really haven't run into this. What do you look for when you're trying to place a bet on a game where there's in the pros when there's a double-digit point spread?
I actually usually look for a teaser spot in this point. If I think that the favorite is getting too many points, but I think they can still win the game. Like I think Tampa can win this game, no problem, barring injuries. I look for a spot to actually, like I said, the way I think this is going to go is I think Tampa's going to get a comfortable win by 10 to 16 points right here. That's my opinion. But again, 10 doesn't cover, 16 covers. So there's a little special thing I like to do is to find a huge middle. I'd like to find a touchdown right here. I like to take Tampa back to 5.5, and I'd like to take Atlanta up to almost 20 points. 2-team, same game, teaser in this spot. Find a huge middle and try to cash. So that being said, for purposes of the show, I hate everything about this game. And I know I've said that a lot. And
it's all right. It's tough.
I love picking every game just for fun purposes. But if you look at my tickets, it's very rare I have over 3 NFL plays a week that I actually put money down on. So that being said, because this is for fun, and maybe we'll have a 6-pair on the line for this one, but give me the Falcons plus 550. You never know. Division game, the Bucks take a half a quarter off and let Matt Ryan throw for 3 touchdowns, and they're playing catch up. I don't know. We'll see. Give me the Falcons just for fun at plus 550 in this spot. No, all right,
I got you down for money line 550 on that one. If I were to put some money on this one, I'm with you. I would do some type of a single game parlay teaser where I get it down to maybe either get Atlanta plus 18.5 and get the over up to 58 or something like that, and then bet it under, the over under to 58.5 and do the under. I don't like this. I don't like a 12.5 point spread because, like you said, what worries me about it is when the garbage time touchdowns come in, the backdoor covers, and this scares the hell out of me. 78% of the betting public is on Tampa Bay to cover that monster spread. So you know what? Atlanta showed me absolutely butt kiss. You and I are opposite on this. I'm taking Tampa to win this one going away. I think it's going to be 35-10, 35-14. So I'll go with Tampa covering the spread. 2 games left. Sunday Night Football. We got Baltimore hosting Kansas City. Baltimore is a 3.5-point home dog, if I'm not mistaken. Kansas City on the road.
We are up to 4 in that game.
Oh, it's up to 4. Okay, good call on that one. Let me change that on my notes right here. And the over-under is still at 54.5. Baltimore, they sloppy game on Sunday night, or I beg your pardon, Monday night. Kansas City, their defense, it's opening game. Not going to overreact on it. They've got Patrick Mahomes. And as long as he's playing, they've always got a chance. I know that's cliche-ish. 82% of the money is on Kansas City. But what's intriguing, Aaron, is in their last 10, Kansas City's 2-8 against the spread. Baltimore, they're kind of in I don't want to say desperation mode, but, I think they're going to be playing with a little more desperation maybe than Kansas City. So I'm going to take the home dog on Sunday Night Football. I'm going to go with Baltimore getting 4.
Well, Lou, it's not often you and I are in agreement with things, and so I'll explain why, but I'll start by saying that I am also on the Ravens +4 in this spot. Again, Lamar Jackson, they can't go 0-2. I know that's a tough spot. Not saying they're going to win. Kansas City's a tough team, and here's the situation that I find myself in. Pat Mahomes, even though, again, they're 2-8 the last 10 against the spread, Pat Mahomes is slowly becoming the Tom Brady quarterback of gambling. I'm either on him or I'm off the game. He's slowly becoming that guy. Now, is there spots you can find to bet against him? Sure. But there was always Tom Brady. Like, I'm either backing Tom Brady or I'm not betting this game at all. So that being said, I am actually not doing either of those things. I'm gonna take the 4 points here in this spot. Primetime game, home dog, getting more than 3. And again, it's not always a lock, but you get these situations here where if the Ravens lose and they're 0-2 and the Steelers beat the Raiders, whether it be at all or just significantly, like of a large margin, that's a problem for Lamar Jackson. You have to think about these things because the Raiders beat the Ravens and the Raiders get dumped on by the Steelers. Now we're looking at Lamar Jackson being in a situation where, oh my God, is he really a quarterback? Maybe Bill Polian was right. Maybe he should switch to running back. There's already those rumblings. I can hear it because we're in year, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 of Lamar Jackson at this point. And this is a game that gets Lamar Jackson back into the, I prove all the haters wrong. I'm a quarterback. I lost that last game on a costly fumble. I know what I got to do. And I really want to get off the schneid and beating Pat Mahomes. Just once. I need to beat him. I'm 0-3 right now. So all that being said, I'm going to take the Ravens +4, and I'm going to throw some on that money line, see if the Ravens can get back to 1-1. Money line currently at 170 on BetUS.
Boy, you know what? God, great minds think alike. I was just thinking that myself. And, you mentioned, I think this is the final year of his deal. So, he's going to start thinking about another contract.
Well, they got to figure out a 5th-year option for him at this point.
That's okay. That's right. So, that's going to be intriguing. Last game, I'm going to let you go first on this one. Just a little preface on this one. For those of you that don't know, I grew up in a little town in the Upper Peninsula called Munising, and it was 50-50 Lions and Packer fans. You were either a Lion fan or a Packer fan. We used to have a beer distributor that he would charter 2 fan buses, one for the Lions fans, one for the Packer fans, to go down to Lambeau, they would stay in Appleton for the weekend. It was the game.
Okay.
Back in the 70s, both teams were brutal. They were bad. Minnesota ruled the roost, but this was the game. First game I can remember was Greg Landry running a quarterback sneak against the Packers in Lambeau, 75 yards, got tackled at the 8-yard line because he ran out of gas. But it's not that way anymore. The Packers, they're like Ohio State against Michigan. They've got the rivalry. So this is huge. I don't care what the records are. I don't care who's playing. That being said, I'm going to let you give us your feel on this Monday night game, Lions and Packers.
I hate it. Every fiber of my being wants me to back the Detroit Lions in this game. And, that would be the trend to go with if you're looking at just, history of this matchup. Lions play them tough every once in a while, beat them. Correct me if I'm wrong. A couple years ago, I think with Matt Stafford, they beat them both games in the division.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Again, not loving any part of this pick because it's just as easily 38-3 Packers as it is, 21-20, Packers in this spot. So for purposes of the show, I'm going to take the 11.5 points, Lou. I'm rooting for you guys to keep it a close game. Jared Goff somehow keeps them in it. And and we also have the backdoor cover option, just like they did last week. You have a primetime game. They don't want it to get out of control because all eyeballs are on you. Dan Campbell, he seems to have the fight. They didn't quit. That's what I love about it. And again, that's just game one. So let's hope in game two they also don't quit. But Jared Goff's got to get a running game behind him, and they can obviously improve as a team. That being said, I'll take Detroit plus the points, I guess.
Well, one of the things that was encouraging with the Lions last week against Philadelphia or against San Francisco, which I think Philadelphia should exploit, was they were able to run up the gut, and they got a running game going. Whether that's just a one-hit wonder, Green Bay's defense to me played absolutely horrible against New Orleans. Was that an overreaction? We're going to find out. But with what I said in my preamble, I'm going with the Lions. I am not betting this game whatsoever. I'm not putting a dime on this game. But for our show, I'm going with my heart. I'm going with the Lions to cover that 11.5, even if it's a backdoor cover. Aaron, we got to wrap it up, but I know you don't like to do this, but we're going to do it anyways. What is your lock of the week as we end up our show?
All right, lock of the week is actually a game we didn't talk about today. Unless if we did, I totally forgot we talked about it. I think the Texans and the Browns is actually the game we missed.
For God's sake, we did. Okay, we got 4 minutes, 3 minutes, go.
All right, Texans, the Browns. I'll include this little preview as my lock of the week. I'm taking the Browns. It's up to 7 at 6.5. I'm taking the Browns first half minus 6.5. I would also take -7. I think they're just going to take out their frustrations on Houston this week after blowing that lead against Kansas City. The line currently, again, Cleveland -13 for the game, the third double-digit spread over under 48. But give me the first half -6.5 or -7, I guess is what you're going to find it as my lock of the week.
Okay, I'm so sorry we forgot about that game. We glossed right over it. So quickly, I'm just going to say I am going to take Cleveland covering the 13. I think Houston is going to come into a team that wants to prove that last week was an anomaly, and I think it is. I think Cleveland is still going to win 11 to 12 games. I didn't have them winning that game last week anyway. So I'm going to say Cleveland's going to come in and just tear Houston apart. They're going to come in with some fervor and a purpose. So I'm going to give them the win. My lock of the week, I am going to go back to, I got it written down here. Oh, for God's sakes. Oh, I'm going to go with Seattle, or in that Seattle game, I'm going to go with the over 54 for my lock of the week. Well, Aaron, this has been a lot of fun. We want to thank everybody for joining us here on the 12-ounce Sports NFL Preview Show. It'll be rebroadcast tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, so we invite you to join us for that again in case you missed something. For Aaron Crouch from the AM Drive, which you can see Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, and yours truly, Captain Lou, saying so long. Thanks for joining us here on the 12-Ounce Sports Network, Zingo TV, Channel 761.